150 at Kentucky Speedway is green. FeedNC 150 at Kentucky Speedway is green. And the FeedNC 150 at Kentucky Speedway is green. And the FeedNC 150 at Kentucky Speedway is green. And the FeedNC 150 at Kentucky Speedway is green. 150 at Kentucky Speedway is green. First it was Texas, then Darlington, then Kentucky, and now for one final time, the FeedNC 150 heads to Motegi, Japan at the Twin Ring Motegi Oval for tonight's FeedNC 150 presented by Hattori Racing Enterprises. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Seth Cole alongside of MRN pit reporter Hannah Newhouse. And Hannah, 98 laps here at a tire eater. What are these guys going to be thinking about as they're going to be making these 98 circuits?
Well, first off, I'm excited to join everyone tonight, and what a great cause this is, everyone coming together for FeedNC, for the Mooresville Soup Kitchen. Such a great cause, and these guys love doing this. They love putting on a show. It's been great to fill the racing void, and a great cause for that. But you'd mentioned it, tire eater here. These guys are going to have some conservation. But again, these guys love doing this. It's fun, so wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys maybe take a couple risks and just have fun with tonight.
We ended up having, at Darlington, long green flag runs. Kentucky was a lot of slipping and sliding around. Looked like maybe here in practice, these drivers have a little bit stabler setup underneath them. So do we expect to see a lot of spins, or do you think we'll actually see some green flag runs and potentially green flag pit stops?
I think we'll see green flag pit stops. I talked to a couple of the guys prior, and they said that they were going to try and keep the chaos to a minimum. But race 4 here, I think we'll see a little bit of chaos. I think guys will lose the setups underneath them as their tires begin to go away, and some good old rivalries that'll start to form throughout tonight's race.
Now, we didn't cover the Texas race, so I don't really know who won that event, but I do know that the two previous winners from Darlington and Kentucky are not in tonight's field, so we're guaranteed, at least here on Flatout Racing Network's broadcast, a brand new winner. The runner-up from Darlington, Josh Weinrich, on the pole for this one, so you got to think he's probably one of the favorites to look at, as he's been fast in qualifying and was fast all through practice.
And see, I'm gonna call out Josh Weinrich there on it. I mean, come on, buddy. Hattori helps put this on, and you put it on a pole. You know, I wonder if he picked this racetrack specifically for him. But all jokes aside, it's super cool to see him, and then Austin Hill right now sitting right behind him on that front row. So your Hattori guys really showing it to the field so far in qualifying.
Absolutely. I've only seen one other race at Motegi, and a lot of drivers, when I interviewed them on that, they were saying this is a very difficult track to get around. But as you said, looks like these Hattori guys definitely have got it figured out with Weinrich and Hill on the front row. 22 drivers in the field here tonight, and it's going to be 98 laps of racing, as we mentioned. The track conditions out there look like they're going to be kind of cool, so with the track being a little bit cooler, maybe a little bit more added grip for these drivers. I don't know if that would play into being able to conserve tires a little bit longer or not, though, just based on how abrasive the racing surface is.
I think I would agree with you there. I'm not sure that will really play into it. You know, they choose these race settings and the environment for these racetracks to best suit them. I think with this already being such an abrasive race surface, that adding that added factor only adds fire to the chaos that we could possibly see. But again, a great situation here at Motegi to be able to put this on, and very rarely, you know, we never see racing there anymore, and to see these cars there is so cool.
Absolutely. And one thing about Motegi as well that I think we'll see if we manage to go into long green flag run, it's a very multi-groove track. You'll be seeing these drivers mostly, I think, bottom feed for the first 10-15 laps, but then as that tire heat builds up, especially in the right front, you're going to see drivers migrate up to that second and third line. Of course, a lot of times taking that higher line gets you the better straightaway speed. So we'll see if we've got a multi-grooved Motegi track with us here tonight.
Looking forward to it. You can see everyone under pace laps right now, getting a little antsy. Again, something I love about iRacing is the chance that everyone gets to make their own schemes, and some good-looking race cars we have out there.
Absolutely. As the pace car is going to peel off, Josh Weinrich gets us underway. The final time here, the FeedNC 150 tonight at Motegi, as he's going to go to the lead. Second place slots in is Austin Hill, and moving into third place is Noah Turpak, who I think is very glad to get out of Kentucky. He was slipping and sliding at that track, but looks pretty stable here, trying to take second place, as he's got Matthew Callentine right behind him. Three-car dance for the second position.
And so far, everyone single file, calm, cool, and collected thus far. Weinrich, though, putting a little bit of a gap between himself and Austin Hill, but Noah Turpak, you see someone dips down, looked like they missed pit road, made some contact with the inside wall there, able to keep it rolling. So far, caution is not out, still green flag on the racetrack.
It was the 6 of Trevor Vogel, who I think may have gotten loose off of 4. As you're right, that car dipped down towards the pit road entrance, but did not hit the wall. He kept it straight. Thusly, we are still under green. And that's kind of one thing, too, about these types of tracks is we got to get through the first couple of laps when drivers are going to feel that loose sensation. Once the tires start to get a little bit of heat, they'll feel a little bit more stable. And so, fortunately, there, we remain green, gives these drivers a chance to get themselves into a long run. As right now, top 2 have pulled away. Best battles for 3rd.
But a battle is shaping up behind them, like you said, for 3rd between Noah Turpak and Matthew Callentine there. Those two bumper to bumper. Callentine all over the back bumper of Turpak, waiting for him to slip up, perfectly riding in his tracks. You have to wonder if maybe there's a little teamwork going on there, if he's setting him up to make a move. And the multi-groove track here allows that type of passing, but he has not veered away from the rear bumper of Turpak.
A little bit there to the outside through the corners, maybe trying to get a little clean air to the front of that race car. Also maybe trying to take away a tight sensation that you get when you're tucked right up on the back of somebody at these 1.5-mile tracks. But I think what he might be trying to do is diamond the corner, run a little bit higher, and then duck it down low, but has not been able to get the power off. Meanwhile, however, that battle for the lead has begun to close up. Josh Weinrich had about half a second between himself and Austin Hill. But the last couple times by, Austin Hill's been a tick quicker, and he's closed it down to less than 0.4.
And if you look at Austin Hill's line, he's running a little bit higher through the corners, letting that car drift out in the center. Therefore, it looks like he's carrying a little more momentum, and that's helped him to close that gap on your leader of Josh Weinrich. Closing quickly, though, he's running a little bit of a different line. Josh taking note of that there now, somewhat all the way to the bottom of the white line. Those two, again, have continued to break away from the rest of the pack.
Right now, they're running 37 4s, 37 5s. The rest of the field are hardly breaking 37 7s. So they are definitely the class of the field right now. Great to see Austin Hill back in that 61. He didn't take part at Kentucky as he was having family time, which obviously we definitely grant him that, but great to see him back behind the wheel of the 61 as he continues to try and reel in race leader Josh Weinrich. We've got some good battling going on just outside of the top 5. That's Neil Quick in the 21 trying to hold off Steve Dutz and Kevin Bellacourt. 6th, 7th, and 8th right there is 3 different drivers, 3 different lanes coming out of turns 3 and 4.
That's a clean-looking race car that Bellacourt is driving tonight. And something so cool about this field is the diversity that comes with it. You've got a crew chief for Bill McAnally Racing in the NASCAR Gander Outdoor Truck Series for Derek Krause. You've got PR, Josh Weinrich. You've got driver Austin Hill. Just an array. Justin Watman with RCR, and then you've got Brent Wentz of Days Gone By Racing. You know, he's got some sweet apparel. So super cool that you have all of these different people that all share the same love of racing coming together and running tonight. And like you mentioned, a couple good battles thus far. But again, everyone patient. Only a handful of laps into tonight's race, but no mayhem yet.
No, not yet. We had a near miss there off of 4 with Vogel, who, by the way, has actually worked his way from what was 21st up to 18th, so he's done a pretty good job of recovering since his near spin in the early portions of this race. But I continue to watch this gap between Weinrich and Hill. It continues to close up. It's now 0.3, closes now to 2.5. Somehow Austin Hill has found something off the corner, and he's got some tremendous corner exit speed onto the straightaways.
That he does. He started to reel that car in, settle in, and tick off laps. And we have to keep in mind that the tires now are going to start to slowly slip away from these guys. And actually, correction on that, they're going to slip away quick on this racetrack. And Austin Hill is taking advantage of that. And he's being nice to his race car. If you watch him, he's not pushing and sliding that race car around. He's letting it go where it wants to on the racetrack and not abusing those tires. And I think that's helped him close the gap as Josh loves the bottom groove here. He is going all the way down to the white line every single lap, but both of these drivers extremely smooth.
You bring up a great point there with him protecting the bottom. When we were seeing the battle between Turpak and Callentine for the 3rd position, Callentine really wasn't able to make a move. I mean, Austin Hill's doing a great job of reeling Weinrich in, but when he gets to him, is there anywhere he can go to try and make a pass? Because we know Weinrich's not going to give up the bottom.
I don't think he will either, and that's where things will start to get interesting. Will we see Austin make somewhat of a bump and run? He's going to have to get him out of that bottom groove. I don't think he has a race car underneath him to really be able to try the top, and he's not been carrying enough speed alone on that top groove to, I think, put himself in a position to be able to cut Josh's speed if he's able to get him to the bottom. But I would like to see him get to that back bumper and give him a little tap. You know, you're going to have to get these drivers out of that groove to take advantage of that, or Josh is just going to have a slip up, and right now it doesn't look like that would happen.
Well, right now he has been picture perfect, hitting his marks, but we're only 10 laps into this race, and even our top two are realizing just how this track is abrasive on tires and slows down the lap times. Their fastest laps of the race were in the 37.4s. They're now running 0.4 slower. We've only turned 10 circuits here so far, and already these drivers are realizing just how much more careful they have to be going into these corners.
Yeah, indeed, we'll start to see drivers really have to get a hold of that wheel and get a handle on it. That could play in, like you said earlier in the race. Will we see some green flag pit stops? Will someone risk it? There's a potential strategy here of if someone's just going to be able to ride it out for as long as they can. Will we see a caution? We saw some contact earlier with that front stretch wall. Everyone was able to keep it going. No caution did fly. So thus far, clean and green in this race. Again, your leader of Josh Weinrich and Austin Hill, your top two, but not much shakeup in the top five as Turpak continues in the third spot. Matthew Callentine and Tom Bourne currently round out your top five.
Tom Bourne just made a pass for the 5th position a couple laps ago around Neil Quick. Those two have kind of been mixing it up the last couple of laps. And then behind them, you've got another battle brewing. That's for 7th. Kevin Bellecourt trying to hold off the 16 of Kyle Steffens, who is actually turning some pretty good lap times these last couple of circuits around. He just cracked the top 10 not too long ago as well.
And right outside of the top 10, I see a battle shaping up here with Derek Newsom, Aiden Purdue, and Brent Marks. Those guys were swapping positions left and right here. The 50 of Newsom trying hard to get around the outside of Purdue. Looked to the outside, didn't quite carry enough momentum, so tucked back down behind him. Brent Marks was also there as well. So you've got a pack of about 6 cars being your 11th and 12th place up to about your 7th and 8th place drivers, all running single file there, but very closely, and this could shape up to be a battle.
I saw right there moments ago, Aiden Purdue carried a lot of speed into the corner, had to check up because of Jay Crable just ahead of him in the 87, and I saw a little bit of tire smoke out of the left front. That's one thing you don't want to do, is abuse that left front tire going into these corners, because if you start really building up the tire heat there, it's going to make it difficult for that car to turn.
Yeah, absolutely. We always talk about how abrasive this track is, and just running alone, you have to be so careful with them. So the last thing you want to do is abuse them. So you'll see drivers, when they do make an attempt to pass someone, they'll give it a lap, maybe 2. You won't see anyone really battle with someone for more than a lap or 2 because you're just going to abuse that right front tire. You're going to overwork your equipment. And so it's best to just lay off, let your equipment pull back down, and then line back up for another shot. Otherwise, all you're doing is harm to both yourself and the person you're racing for position with.
Side by side for 9th. That's Brent Marks and Jay Crable. Marks tried the outside line a couple laps ago, didn't work. He crossed to the inside line, completes the pass, and now will hold the 9th spot. Crable drops back to 10th. And it looks like some connection issues possibly for the 39 of Aiden Purdue, as he's now fallen back to 12th. Here's a battle for 13th going on between Grayson Pope and Derek Newsom. Want to give a shout out here to the executives at Toyota Susho, as well as the president, Mr. Sago, for tuning in here tonight. We know that they tuned into our Kentucky race. Appreciate them tuning. Hope they're enjoying the show. Long way still to go in this one, and continuing to shape up to be a good battle for the race lead. Austin Hill continues to chip away. I almost wonder if he's maybe playing the intimidator factor right now, just riding there, waiting to see if Weinrich makes a mistake.
I would have to say so. Not even maybe so much as a mistake. You got a lap car here, which looks like the 2 car of Justin Wattman now going a lap down there by your leaders. But Josh Weinrich, like you said, I have to think that Austin is trailing in his tracks and maybe saving a little. And it's crazy to say that he's saving in that 2nd spot, but he's slowly chipped away at it. Again, you have not seen that 61 car wobble once. I mean, he's been so smooth in his line. He's executed every lap, and he's been able to chip away at Josh Weinrich's lead. But you have to wonder, is he holding anything back? You think he'll let anything out here a little bit later to catch that lead? Because as we've learned many times, the only lap that matters is the last one.
Absolutely, and of course, with us running 17 laps here, a lot of guys out there in practice may have been setting themselves up for the long run, and Austin Hill could very well have been one of those drivers. Just wait until his car came to him here, and right now he is obviously running faster than Josh Weinrich, but not really making a move on him just yet. To your point, maybe just being what would be called conservatively aggressive, staying in the vicinity, but still keeping his equipment in good shape. We did have a driver make an unscheduled stop, Trevor Vogel, who had that issue off of turn 4 that did not bring out a caution. He just came to pit road, currently running a lap down. You mentioned Justin Wapham currently a lap down as well, and also Brad McDaniel. A couple of drivers have already retired from the race as well, including Steve Dutz and the 30 of Brent Wetz. So tough break for both of them, not even making it a quarter of the way through this race. I've seen Brent Wetz race before over in the Elite Racing League, and to your point, you mentioned about him having the Days Gone By apparel store. It's a great place that people should check out. A lot of vintage racing apparel over there, jackets, shirts, hats. So give him a little shout out there and appreciate him showing up for tonight's race. But right now, it looks like the best battle on the track is going on for that race lead. It's a less than 2/10. Everybody else has their own little battles going on, but there's about 3/4 separation. And Austin Hill, it's finally time for him to go.
And he just turned the gas on, dove down there, finally was able to get that bottom groove away from Josh Weinrich, clears him coming out of the corner, will take the lead away from Josh Weinrich. So new leader, the only time we've had a new leader thus far in the race. Austin Hill takes it, and he's been able to hold on it pretty steadily here. Josh looks to try the bottom groove, but unable to do that. Again, Austin Hill running a higher line, but carrying so much speed and momentum, almost 2 car lengths between him and second place now.
A lot of speed carried off of turn 2 down the back straightaway. And one thing I noticed from Josh Weinrich back at Darlington was he worked his way up from, I think it was a 7th place restarting spot, up to finish 2nd, but he used up so much of his stuff in trying to do that, he never was able to get to the eventual winner, Shane Terry. And I almost wonder if maybe he used up an awful lot of his stuff here trying to hold off Austin Hill, and that's why we're seeing Hill be able to pull away as quickly as he is.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's not something you want to do at a track that's so hard on equipment like this, but there's still that possibility that we could see someone make these green flag pit stops, or if we get a caution, that could be just what he needs. Get in, get some new, fresh tires. These two have shown that they have something figured out beyond just their tires. I mean, they've got something figured out on their setup and their line, that they have outclassed the field so far in their driving capabilities, putting a pretty good gap between themselves and third place. So will we see a caution? Will a lap car potentially hold up your leader, Austin Hill? Right now, Austin Hill has just checked out a solid gap between himself and second place.
Right now, currently has himself, I'd say about 7 car lengths between himself and Josh Weinrich, and continuing to run very consistent lap times after having 22 circuits on that set of tires. And the point that you brought up about green flag pit stops, I mean, I don't know what the fuel window is for these guys, but obviously I think they're going to be more concerned about tires than fuel. I almost wonder if some of these guys might try and split this race in half, maybe come to pit road somewhere in the vicinity of lap 50, make the only stop that they'd have to make for the day. The only thing I'd be a little bit concerned about with that is, even though this is a 1.5 mile track, it is easy under green flag conditions to go a lap down. So if we do get that caution that comes out, and some of these guys have already made pit stops, they'd have to probably rely on a wave around. They'd get back in the lead lap, but they'd lose a whole bunch of track position as a result.
Well, something I also appreciate. Oh, contact! Josh Weinrich goes around with, looks like a lap car. Wow, that is not what someone wants to see right now. Had a great run going tonight, and his evening could be done. These drivers getting no resets. Heavy damage there. Definitely an inopportune moment to be around a lap car and take out your second place driver.
Sure who that was that he made contact with. It might have been, it was the 32 of Brad McDaniel. It was. And that is a tough break there for Weinrich. To your point, I don't think there's any safer barrier down there on the inside, and he hit that wall pretty good, both Weinrich and McDaniel. Looked like it was a tough spot that Weinrich encountered the 32 car at, and obviously had catastrophic results.
Yeah, tough break for Josh. He'll have to really make up some ground here. Only slips back to the 10th position, though. But again, that car has obtained heavy damage. When this caution comes out, you'll have to see who comes down, gets tires and fuel. This could really shake up the field, as a lot of drivers have, like we mentioned, wore out their tires. But you've got drivers like Bellecourt, who's up to that 6th position. Noah Turpak has now taken over that 2nd spot. So with new rubber on the cars, how will these drivers react? Here you go, a bunch of drivers coming down pit road.
And as we looked back at the replay, it almost looked like McDaniel may have gotten into the wall, maybe trying to prepare to get out of the way of Weinrich, brushed the wall, the car bounced off, and just wrong place, wrong time for the 84 of Josh Weinrich. So tough break there for him. We'll have to see how that damage affects him. A lot of the impact was with the rear of the car. I would think that's going to make the car especially a lot looser going into these corners, but maybe make him a little bit faster. Maybe he won't have the tire, the car get tight on him as soon as some of these other guys, but of course it will all determine on what his speed is. As Austin Hill, I don't think he won the battle off pit road. I think maybe Turpak might have gotten him. So if Weinrich and Ellis, the two that stayed out, do come to pit road, Noah Turpak's going to be the race leader when we go back green.
Interesting, and love to see this caution. All of these drivers had been pretty conservative, no one doing anything crazy. Again, no one gets any resets, so they can't risk being reckless, wrecking their cars early on in the race because they weren't allowed those resets. So now this caution comes out, allows the field to shake up, closens everyone back up, and tightens that field back up. So it'll be interesting to see who took what and when and where they all shake back out. And you can see Josh Weinrich now down below that white line. He'll come down to pit road to assess that damage, probably take tires and fuel as well, and that'll allow the field to continue cycling through.
Most of the damage is to the right rear of Weinrich's machine. It all depends on the velocity of the impact that he made as to whether he'll be up to speed or not. So as Turpak inherits the lead, the driver that was involved with Weinrich, Brad McDaniel, I want to give a shout out to him, Neil Quick, and Chris Quick, who are in tonight's event. Guys from R&R Racewear. They sell racing apparel and merchandise out of Valley Park, Missouri, and you can check out their website at r-rracewear.com. It's the first time.
So awesome. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was just going to say, it's the first time that we've seen Noah Turpak out in front here. He spent most of that first run running in the 3rd position, so we know Austin Hill has been really good on the long run, but we don't really know what the 8 can do when he's out in front.
Yeah, again, interesting to see with this shakeup how everyone will run. Everyone got pretty good at those single file runs. Everyone now back to double file. Some guys taking 2, some guys taking 4. Did anyone opt out of tires? I would sure hope not. That would not be something I would do. But pretty interesting to see how this field has cycled through and who chose to go down pit road and who didn't. But yeah, Noah Turpak, we've watched him and he's been quick all evening. Really didn't have anything to contend with the leaders early on, but now holds that top position. It could be what he needs to get out front and get some assistance from those guys that were fast.
We got a couple of drivers that will be taking the wave around when we eventually get the 1 to green signal. The 2 of Justin Wapham is 1. The other one is the 4 of Chris Quick. This will put Chris Quick to -1. I'm sorry, no, it will put him to -2, and it will put Justin Wapham to -5. Both of them had to make unscheduled pit stops under that last green flag run. The way that the top 10 will look when we go back green, Noah Turpak the leader. Austin Hill will line up 2nd, Matthew Callentine in 3rd, Neil Quick 4th, 5th will be Brent Marks, Tom Bourne in 6th, Kevin Bellecourt in 7th, Kyle Steffens 8th, and the rest of the top 10, Aiden Perdue and Ron Shute. Looks like Josh Weinrich continuing to get repairs done to his race cars. He still sits on pit road. He has lost 1 lap to the leaders here under caution, maybe in danger of losing another. So as we're nearing the halfway point of this race, he's going to need a lot of help to get himself back into competition. He's going to need to see a couple more yellows and get a couple of free passes. The bad news for him, though, is the 6 of Trevor Vogel is also 1 lap down and currently would be in the free pass position should we get another caution flag. So Josh Weinrich going to need a lot of help here if he's going to get back up to where he was 2nd place at the time when he was involved with a lap car, bringing out so far our only caution of the day.
and the pace truck dips down off pit road. Your front row again, Noah Turpak and Austin Hill side by side. Green flag is in the air. Great jump there by Noah Turpak. He clears Austin Hill with absolutely no effort needed there. He is clean and green right now. Looks like the bottom though. You've got the 96 of Matthew Callentine. Took a peek there under Hill. Couldn't make it happen, so your top 4 now single file.
Be the side-by-side battle now for 5th place. Now that is going to go into the hands of Brent Marks as he makes quick work of Neil Quick. Side-by-side for the 7th spot, Kevin Bellacourt trying to get around Kyle Steffens. These drivers all trying to fight for real estate before they get themselves settled into single file, as we nearly had a wreck there with Steffens into the rear quarter panel, the right rear quarter panel of Kevin Bellacourt. Meanwhile, up front, Austin Hill taking a peek there. I'm sorry, that's actually, he took the lead from Noah Turpak. That's Callentine taking a peek for 2nd.
And Callentine right there on the back bumper. I'm sorry, Callentine now cleared Turpak for that 2nd spot. So he's got his eyes now set on Austin Hill, but also has to drive in his rearview mirror because Turpak has not lifted off of his back bumper. This is what we saw earlier in the race. These two could not get away from each other, and they are exactly in the same place again. But Tom Bourne lurks just slightly behind them. Those top 4 now starting to break away, but mover and shaker Brent Marks there started in the 21st position and is now up to that 5th spot. So great run by him this evening so far. A lot of ground made up there. But again, your leader, Austin Hill, now some distance between him. Top 5 starting to single file out.
Yeah, it was looking like Austin Hill and Josh Weinrich were going to be the two to maybe duke it out for the win here tonight. But with Weinrich currently running 3 laps down, the question is who's going to be able to step up and challenge the 61 for this race lead. You mentioned about Brent Marks back there in that 5th position. He was one of the guys along with Austin Hill that looked like he was really good on long run speed. So if we go into another long green flag run, I'd watch for that number 5 to maybe start cutting his way up through the top 5. He may be the guy to wrestle away the win from Austin Hill.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw Austin Hill, which looks like it looked like he drugged the brakes a little bit early on in the race, hung out behind Weinrich, and then dropped the hammer and made that move, and no one has been able to touch him since. But again, this racetrack very abrasive on your tires, and you're gonna have to conserve some stuff to have anything there at the end of the race. So could someone like Marks be hanging out and conserving not only his tires but his fuel? This could turn into a fuel mileage race. Wobble there by Callentine. Turpak got to the back bumper of him and gave him a little love tap. Both of them able to hold on to it, but it looks like Turpak will take that spot from Matthew Callentine and move into the 2nd position, and that's opened the door for Tom Bourne to enter the battle for your top 4 here. Tom Bourne, though, not quite enough, so he'll hang out in that 4th position and try and set up Matthew Callentine for that 3rd spot.
Chevy, Ford, Toyota battling for that 2nd position, and you gotta wonder, the racing we're seeing here between Turpak and Callentine, how much are they using up of their stuff here going side by side for 2nd? And while they got themselves focused for the 2nd spot, you've got Austin Hill. He is just waving goodbye. He's opened it up by over a second over this 3-way battle for the 2nd spot.
This is exactly what Austin Hill loves to see. He loves to see everyone behind him battling and battling hard, because that allows him to just run his pace, run his laps, and not worry about the pressure behind him. So when you're the 2nd place guy and you have 3rd place all over your bumper, you hate to say it, but you're probably racing in your rearview mirror a lot harder than you're racing out your front windshield. So exactly what our leader wants to see, to be able to put more distance between himself and that pack. But man, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of Turpak, Callentine, and Bourne respectively are all over each other. Turpak driving out of that rearview mirror, trying to keep both Callentine and Bourne behind him, trying the high lane, trying the low lane. All it's going to take is for one of these drivers to cause a little melee.
You know, as well as the laps start to tick away, frustration is going to start setting in for someone like Callentine and Tom Bourne. They're going to be a little tired of riding behind that 8 machine, as they look to be a little bit better on corner entry than Turpak is. And sooner or later, you think they might put the bumper to him, might move him out of the way, as we nearly had contact back there for 3rd with Callentine and Tom Bourne both driving it deep into turn 3.
Absolutely. As these laps continue to wind down, so are the patience of these drivers. I think everyone's going to start losing that patience, and they're going to get a little desperate to make up that ground as the time continues to wind down. So it looks like it might be Tom Bourne who's starting to slip away from your 2nd and 3rd spot there. But again, Callentine and Turpak cannot get away from each other. Those two hooked at the front and rear bumper there, and it's going to take Callentine to repay that little bump and run that Turpak had done a little bit ago to get that second spot back.
I think Austin Hill realizes the situation right now. The gap has closed up. It was 1.1 seconds. It's now closed up to about 9/10, but I think that's because Austin Hill has chosen it to be so. I think he's backed his pace off a little bit, realizes the battle is going on for second, so I think he's gone back into conservation mode. He's built up a nice little gap. He's going to maintain it for the moment, but not use up his stuff, trying to drive away by a huge margin.
I would agree. Like I said, he's seeing that battle behind him, and he's going, I don't need to put everything out there right now. I don't need to use my equipment. These guys can somewhat catch me if they need to, because they're going to continue battling with each other. And when I need to, I can put that distance between myself and them. And honestly, we see a driver like Kyle Busch constantly do that, where he'll let people catch him because he knows there's no reason to have a half straightaway between himself and someone when he can go ahead and conserve that fuel, conserve those tires, and really not wear his equipment out. So Austin Hill playing a smart game right now, but yellow is out on the race course, so it looks like we might have someone around somewhere, but that'll be interesting. Let's re-rack them all back up.
So 39 of Aiden Perdue, who spun it out, looked like out of turn 4 on the front straightaway. Quite a bit of rear end damage on his Ford Mustang. He's been fighting connection issues all night long. Don't know if that had anything to do with his incident here, but to your point, Hannah, brings out the second caution of the evening, and this is not that far away from the halfway point, so I almost wonder if this pit stop could maybe be the final pit stop of the evening for these drivers, should we go green the rest of the way.
It'll be interesting to see. I would expect that some of these guys will maybe try a late race pit stop just for the advantage of having fresher tires if we do see a late race caution, because if we get to the tail end of this race with this only being halfway and no one coming down to get fresh tires before then, these guys are going to have absolute handfuls of race cars, and it would be to someone's advantage to come down and maybe risk a couple positions to get those fresh tires. But the groove's now working in. We've seen that they're starting to move farther up the racetrack. So I would expect to see someone coming down pit road later in the race after this halfway break if the opportunity presents itself. But if we go green, I don't think anyone can afford to come down pit road for those fresh tires and lose that much track position.
Absolutely agree. As you see, whoa, little cat and mouse there. Austin Hill looked like he was coming to pit road. He faked Noah Turpak out. He stays out. Turpak will come in. Looks like Callentine's going to stay out as well. And interesting that Austin Hill, maybe he watched what happened last time out at Kentucky when Max McLaughlin was able to make it 60 laps on his set of tires to take the checkered flag there. Maybe Austin Hill has felt he saved enough there under those 14 laps of green flag conditions that he can maintain his track position and still have good rubber underneath him.
Yeah, this is Austin Hill setting himself up for that late race caution like I'd mentioned. He says, I'm not going to take him now. I'm going to take him later when I can only lose a couple spots. So I would expect that Austin is banking on a late race caution, because if he continues this way and doesn't get that caution, he's either going to be forced down pit road under green flag conditions, or will get absolutely eaten up at the later end of this race as these guys now have fresh tires. And he's got quite a few laps on his. So I think he's got a good enough race car underneath him to maintain and be competitive, but as the laps continue to wind down, Austin's going to be in a pretty tough position.
And of course, too, with drivers coming to pit road, they're going to be a little bit closer to make it on fuel. Austin Hill, on the other hand, is going to be about a 13, 14 lap deficit in the tank. So if we do go green to the end, he's got to hope that, if that late caution does not come out, that he does have enough fuel that he would not have to pit under green flag conditions. So Austin Hill and Matthew Callentine, they roll the dice. They'll be first and second when we go back green. Aiden Perdue, who brought out the caution, looks like he may be, he is staying out as well, which surprises me with that rear end damage. Apparently he felt that his car is still okay. He will be restarting third right now. Noah Turpak, who was the first off pit road, would be fourth. Kevin Bellacourt fifth, then Tom Bourne, Neil Quick, Derek Newsom, Kyle Steffens, and Jay Craybill. As we near the halfway point, folks, this race, of course, is the FeedNC 150, and of course, all 4 races have been to benefit FeedNC.org. Established in 1987 as the Mooresville Soup Kitchen, FeedNC, which stands for Food, Education, Essentials, and Dignity, is a food-focused resource that seeks to end the cycle of hunger and poverty with extensive programs and opportunities for those in need. Since its inception, FeedNC has expanded its services to include regional markets, a food pantry, a workforce education. In addition to the thousands of lives it has impacted, FeedNC serves more than 100,000 meals annually and delivers more than 125,000 pounds of food a month. People can donate on feednc.org, or you can follow the links provided in tonight's broadcast on YouTube in the YouTube description, as well as in the comments of the Facebook Live broadcast. A lot of things you can do over on feednc.org. You can become a member of the FeedNC Cooking for a Cause monthly donation club, and you can make a difference at home as well by making a blessing bag. For all of those information, head over to feednc.org. A great race, a great series of races for a great cause. Lights are out atop the pace truck. We're going to go back green on lap 42 of 98. If my calculations are correct, we would have 57 laps to go. So we are nearing the halfway point of this race, which would be just around the completion of lap 59. A question mark about some of these guys that came to pit road, whether they can make it on fuel or not. Austin Hill, of course, though, feels track position over tires. He'll be the pole sitter once again when we go back green. And it'll be interesting to see because he's got a little bit of a buffer here. He's got Matthew Callentine up top side, who's on the same tire strategy as he is. And he's also got Aiden Perdue right behind him also. So maybe that little bit of a wall would be enough for him to open up enough of a gap to hold off the fresher tires behind him.
And again, the field now still double file. Caution is out on the race course. Everyone's still going to be calm for a little while longer, but Austin Hill in that leading position did not come down pit road. Noah Turpak, though, only a handful of positions behind him. Not what Austin Hill wants to see right now, as Turpak came down and probably got fresh tires and fuel. So it's not going to take much for Turpak to catch up to your leader. Will be interesting to see when that happens.
Saw the difference between older tires and fresher tires, somewhere between 2 to 4 tenths of a second, as Austin Hill, controlling the restart, is going to get away for the moment. He puts Callentine between him and Noah Turpak. We'll see how long it takes for the 8 machine to clear the other drivers that are on older tires before he can focus on the 61.
And those two now breaking away from everyone else. Again, Austin Hill and Callentine. Turpak trying to make his way through the field. But wow, Callentine and Hill able to put a pretty good distance between themselves and third place of Aiden Perdue. And you'd mentioned that damage that Perdue had gotten. Doesn't seem to be wavering too much. But your 4th, 5th, and 6th looked like there was a little bit of a bobble there between a couple drivers. Everyone able to hold on to it, though. So I saw someone go low on the race course, but a little bit of a hornet's nest there for your 7th, 8th, and 9th place drivers. Everyone's still single file. We saw a couple people peek out there, but everyone nose to tail, fanning out through the corners. So that just goes to show that this race course is starting to become a multi-groove racetrack, and that will play into everyone's favor later in the race. That way, when those cars are a little ill-handling, they may be provided that top groove for racing. But the 21 of Neil Quick looking to the bottom of Aiden Perdue for that 7th position. Not able to make it happen, so he'll slide back behind him. But those two, as well as Kevin Bellacourt and Tom Bourne in front of them, also battling for position.
And the fun stuff's been going on just inside the top 10 there. I think that the 39 of Aiden Perdue, who had that spin in the front straightaway, did not come to pit road to change tires. He is dropping like a rock, and he's stacking everybody up behind him. They were 3 wide at 2 separate occasions there with Jake Craybill, Kyle Steffens, Derek Newsom as well. They've now gotten themselves sorted out to single file, as now Newsom gets a good run to the inside of Craybill, who I think got a little loose on 3, so they'll go side by side for the 8th position, as we got a car almost out of shape back there. I think that might have been the 28 of Ron Shute, but he keeps it together. We still remain green.
Yeah, battle shaping up behind them as well, though. The 3 of Mark Ellis in midst of that and under fire by Aiden Perdue. And Perdue had slipped back a few positions there, but is trying to make that ground back up. The 23 as well. Whoa, all the way to the bottom of the racetrack.
On Shute, way out of shape. He's going to spin it to the inside wall. It's out of the way of traffic. I don't know if that will warrant a caution or not. We remain green. Now caution is thrown. And I believe it was for his spin off of 2, which I don't think anyone made contact with him. Looks like he may have just lost it on his own.
Yeah, unfortunate break for him there. Got out of shape, but luckily did not manage to collect anyone else with him, so just sustains damage himself. He'll have to cycle back to the end of the field there and try and make his way back through, but glad no one else was involved in there. Again, we saw the first half of this race go virtually caution-free, and now just in the last handful of laps, we've had a couple cautions. Drivers have got to be thinking to themselves, with the way this race is continuing to go, they may be changing that pit strategy as an audible.
So many times when we see a race in the first half go green, the second half, everybody asks just a little bit more of their car. They ask just a little bit more in terms of room with other drivers around them, and we see a lot of late race yellows, which would, to your point, have played into the strategy that Austin Hill has of thinking that we're going to see these late race yellows. He'll have the benefit of coming to pit road on a late caution and getting those fresh tires. Question is, though, is this the caution he planned for? Is he going to pit this time, or is he maybe going to fake again and keep the race lead? This time he commits onto pit road. Turpak, on the other hand, since he pitted under the last caution, he's going to stay out and be the race leader when we eventually go back green.
That'll shake this field back up once again. We've had that happen multiple times here under caution as drivers choose to elect to go down pit road, get those 4 tires in fuel, maybe just a splash of fuel. A lot of different people on a lot of different strategies, though. And I love that not a lot of these guys have to be very good at getting into their pit stalls here on iRacing, able to drive through a couple of them, but hey, that's okay. That's why we love some virtual racing here, and it's been fun to do this over the last couple weeks. Looking forward to going back to the racetrack, though, this next week as NASCAR returns, so a lot of these guys are going to be busy as racing returns for multiple days a week. So we'll take this in and embrace the virtual racing as we have it right now. So thanks to iRacing, everyone, for putting this all together. It's a great platform, and let's all of us be race cars every once in a while.
Absolutely. A tremendous credit to Josh Weinrich for putting this whole thing together. Of course, the PR man for Hattori Racing Enterprises, and he's been the brains behind this whole thing, all 4 races put together, and he's done a tremendous job of getting drivers together and putting on some great shows. I just got word from the 54 of Tom Bourne, who's carrying the Flatout Racing Network colors here tonight. Back when we had that last caution, he came to pit road, but he said even then they were close on fuel. My assumption is with getting that audible, with this caution coming out now about 8 laps later, everyone that came to pit road should be good to make it the rest of the way on what they got on pit road.
Yeah, interesting. That could leave it to where they will come down pit road forcibly only for tires, and someone like we'd mentioned, Austin Hill or someone like that, could choose to lose a few positions on pit road later in the race. Say we get a late race caution, but interesting to know that it's not potentially a fuel mileage race anymore, so all of these guys will be able to make it, but will they risk that and come down for fresh tires at such an abrasive racetrack?
Like we did have Trevor Vogel, the free pass machine, so he will be back on the lead lap. He is 15th place right now in the running order. We do have 4 other drivers that are still on track and still running, but are off the lead lap. Chris Quick is currently 1 lap down. Josh Weinrich, who had his early issues, 3 laps down. Justin Wapham is 5 laps down, and Brad McDaniel is 6 laps down to the race leader. So Chris Quick could find himself back on the lead lap should we have another yellow flag. Currently 15 cars, though, on the lead lap, and the car that brought out the caution, Ron Shute, they have made repairs to his machine. He is back out there in the 14th position. He was, I believe, around the 11th position when we saw his spin off of turn 2, so we'll see if he can at least work his way up to there or maybe higher once we go back green. But the drivers that decide to stay out are the top 4: Noah Turpak, Kevin Bellacourt, Neil Quick, and Kyle Steffens. Austin Hill, who was the first to pit road, will restart in 5th on fresh tires. Matthew Callentine in 6th. Brent Marks 7th, Tom Bourne in 8th, 9th, Jay Craybill, and Derek Newsom in 10th. The rest of the cars on the lead lap right now are Aiden Purdue in 11th, Mark Ellison 12th, Grayson Pope 13th, Ron Shute in 14th, and the free pass car Trevor Vogel in the 15th position.
Yeah, tough break for Josh Weinrich. You'd mentioned it, 3 laps down. That's going to be a tough one to make up if he is even able to at this point. Showed he had contention for that win early on in the race, and just tough luck, but we'll have that here in racing. But again, everyone double filed up, starting to bunch up as we're expected to go racing here shortly for the second half of tonight's race.
Noah Turpak was the race leader when we went back green on our first restart of the night. And he quickly lost the race lead to Austin Hill. So I don't know if it was a driver mistake on his part, just the fact that Hill was so much faster. We'll see now with Turpak being the race leader on this third restart if he'll be able to hold the race lead or not. Of course, the driver that's going to be gunning for him, the fresh tires of Austin Hill, third on that inside line for this restart. Chevy, Toyota, Ford, and Ford, your first two rows as Noah Turpak off of turn 4. Accelerates through the gears, took Kevin Bellecourt by surprise there as Bellecourt spun the tires, and Turpak's going to have about a 2.5 car length lead, maybe 3 going into turn 1.
And a hornet's nest for the middle of the race pack, a lot of them side by side. Oh, and it looks like we've got a 3-wide situation for Matthew Callentine, Austin Hill, and Brent Marks. Ooh, everyone holding on to it. Someone now low down across the apron of the racetrack. That's number 5 of Brent Marks. Holds on to it, sends it through the corner though, is able to slide up in front of Callentine, and Hill slide too high and get freight trained there on the outside groove. Wow, great battle shaping up here. Turpak though, still your leader, has just checked out. He said, I am not having any part of this hornet's nest. So your top 3, including Austin Hill, have now separated themselves from everyone who seems to be calming down a little now.
Austin Hill restarted 5th, is now up to 3rd, and we'll see how quick of work he can make here of Neil Quick in 2nd and Noah Turpak there in the race lead as Tom Bourne and Brent Marks, they're mixing it up for 7th place. We're seeing these guys back here making those aggressive moves, sliding into the corner because they have the fresh tires right now, but they don't want to abuse them too much. They want to save a little bit for the long run as Kyle Steffens here with Kevin Bellecourt. That's for 4th place, but right now, looking in terms of lap times, Austin Hill is about 0.4 of a second faster than the 2 in front of him, and here's the battle for the lead. Neil Quick taking a look to the inside, couldn't quite get there on Turpak, and Hill now closes in even quicker on Neil Quick for 2nd.
Hill doesn't even look like he's in the same race right now. He has quickly closed on 2nd place of Neil Quick. He's on the inside, and he'll clear him in a matter of moments here, slide up in front of him, but Quick to the back bumper of him. Could have given him a little love tap there, but stayed off of his bumper. So Hill now has changed his sights to your leader of Noah Turpak. He'll try and close that gap quickly, but Hill has saved something for us. He is absolutely on a mission, tracking down your leader. Won't take but a moment to get to him, and you have to wonder how he'll set up Noah, because Noah has also been equally as competitive tonight. But wow, Hill closing that gap quick.
Austin Hill, 8 laps fresher tires than Noah Turpak up ahead of him, and we know that he's had a fast car all night long as, whoa, Turpak drifting it there into turn 3. That car got really out of shape on him. That allows Hill to close up even closer, and I think he may think about making a move down here to turn 1. Question is, though, does he duck low? Does he try the second groove? He's gonna go to the outside line.
He was able to hold on to that lead, but is under fire by Austin Hill, trying the high lane, trying the low lane. Turpak, though, really not protecting the bottom as much as I anticipated in him, but he needs to be able to keep that momentum and not cut down too low, protecting to kill that momentum and speed. But Hill almost backs his corner up a little bit more than Turpak, lets it roll through the center a little easier, and is carrying that speed off of the corner. But unfortunately, that's not where he needs it. He needs to carry it a little bit better into it. Ooh, he's going to try the bottom. Turpak with a block move. Blocks him down the front stretch there. Hill able to get to the inside, side by side for the lead.
See if Turpak can get back to the throttle here off the corner. Austin Hill's been really good from the center off. They're side by side off of 2 down the back straightaway. And if these guys continue to race long enough, that could bring Neil Quick back into this conversation. But Austin Hill, he's able to drive it in so deep into the corner as Turpak tries to battle the outside, cannot get the throttle through the center though. Austin Hill goes back to the race lead and now sets his sights on opening the gap once again.
Hill quickly regaining that spot which he claimed early on in this race, showing he is the dominant driver tonight at Motegi. Incredible effort thus far. Neil Quick, though, quickly gained there on Noah Turpak. Looks like he'll line up to challenge him for that second spot, and I'm going to call it now. I'm not sure anyone really has anything for Austin Hill. Late caution or not, he always continues to find himself at the front of the field.
Yeah, he's restarted back in 7th. He's restarted in 5th, and both times he's been able to find his way back to the front. Little smoke on the front straightaway. I don't know if we had an incident that may have not brought out a yellow. Could have also been connection issues. Sometimes the cars will disappear, reappear, and cause a little smoke cloud there. But as this battle for second place begins to brew, these are two drivers, Turpak and Quick, who actually stayed out on the last caution, so they are both on the same number of laps on their tires, but it looks like Neil Quick's just a little bit faster.
And a great looking car there of Neil Quick. I love that red, white, and blue, easy to spot there. Good looking race car, trying to reel in Noah Turpak, like you mentioned, but behind them, that battle starting to shape up with with Tom Bourne and Brent Marks. Bourne on the outside there, I believe. Bourne on the inside being challenged. Right behind him, though, Brent Marks trying to follow him through. So those guys continually swapping a side-by-side racing situation, but everyone racing respectfully. But we've talked about it many times. You don't want to try and contend with someone at racing side-by-side at this racetrack for too many laps, because all you're going to do is wear your equipment down and do that drastically. So wouldn't be surprised if we see them take a lap and calm down a little bit before he tries to line back up and take another shot.
Looks like Kyle Steffens, who was a driver that stayed out under the last caution, that strategy did not work out for him. He actually got two left sides down on the white line. It shot him up the track, opened the door for Tom Bourne and Brent Marks to pass him, so he has now drifted back to the 7th position. As up front, though, that second place battle, whoa, looks like we got a slow machine on that inside line. That is the 17 of Brad McDaniel. He's going to get out of the way. The battle for second, though, is closed up just a little bit there between Turpak and Neil Quick, but I think for the moment they may be hoping for a caution here because Austin Hill has opened the gap up to a full second once more. On board with a big moment there off of turn 4 as he got loose but saves it in that 5th position, and that little mistake may allow Brent Marks to start closing up into a battle for a spot inside of the top 5. Further back, though, they are really racing hard. You got about a pack of 5 back here with Jake Crable, Kevin Bellacourt, Derek Newsom, Mark Ellis, and Aiden Perdue. These guys have really been all around each other all race long. They can't seem to be able to get away from each other.
Yeah, Bellacourt at one point was up in the top 3, has slipped back down to that 9th position, and is trying to track down Jay Crable for the 8th spot. And behind him as well, like you'd mentioned, that battle, the 3 of Mark Ellis tries the high lane and the low lane, but can't seem to carry enough momentum to get around Newsom. So he'll try to the bottom here. Ooh, inside that left rear quarter panel, but his spotter calls him inside. He gives him the spot. So now Mark Ellis to the inside of Newsom there. Again, not enough momentum. He'll try it again. Runs low down the front stretch. Everyone calm down, single file, but look who's there. That's Josh Weinrich in that 84. Couple laps down, but showing, hey, I'm just quick enough to hang out.
Absolutely. That car still looks like it would be up to speed to challenge if necessary for the race lead. But to your point, 3 laps down to the leaders, and as the laps tick away, the chances of getting a free pass looking pretty bleak as, boy, Derek Newsom made a dive move on Kevin Bellacourt for that 9th position, and I thought they might make contact, but fortunately, Newsom realized he wasn't going to make the corner, backed it off just a little bit, and now that brings Mark Ellis back to his bumper for the battle for 10th.
Yeah, dive bomb situations like that do not work well here. There's not much for them to grip onto once they make that dive bomb. It's almost like being at a dirt track. They're just going to slide right back up there and into that high groove, which is not necessarily preferred at the moment. They haven't worked in much of a high groove, but Weinrich now to the bottom there of Newsom, gives him a little tap through the center of the corner. Interesting, a lap car of Weinrich. Ooh, 3 wide there. Oh, little wobble. Almost take out Wattman with them. We've now got drivers that are 2, 3, 6 laps down, racing with drivers on the lead lap. Such an interesting situation.
In the field, the track very congested, no doubt about that. And the biggest loser out of all that was Derek Newsom. He was up in 9th. He now finds himself back in 11th place. Battle is heating up for that third position, though. The fresh tires of Matthew Callentine finally starting to come in here on the longer run. He's now reeled in Neil Quick for the third position. All this going on about 2.5 seconds, make that 3 seconds behind Austin Hill, but Callentine just trying to manage the gap as best he can, but he's got these two drivers on older tires, 8-lap older tires ahead of him between himself and Austin Hill.
And Austin Hill, in a league of his own at the moment, like you mentioned, has put a field between himself and Turpak sitting pretty good between himself and Neil Quick. But the 96 of Matthew Callentine has caught Neil Quick and will try and set him up to pass for that third spot. He'll try high and low, but right now he just races in the tracks of Neil Quick. Again, everyone's tires now starting to fade away. It's been a handful of laps since we've gone down pit road. Some of these guys having been a little longer. Everyone going to make it on fuel thus far, but race cars starting to fade away.
Yeah, 4 drivers out there run 26 circuits on their tires. Not all of them under green flag conditions, however. Drivers that came to pit road under the last caution, this is their 19th lap. And right now, things trending good for Austin Hill, because the beginning of the race, we went into a long green flag run, and with the cars spread out as they are right now, the likelihood of us having a caution looks slimmer than they would have with everyone bunched up on a restart. So if we can make it these final 33 laps without a caution and Austin Hill can see that white flag, he will have this thing pretty well locked up. He's been the class of the field all day long, took the lead early on away from pole sitter Josh Weinrich, restarted back outside of the top 3 on a couple of restarts, but fought his way back up to the lead, and he's just had the fastest car of the field all night, no questions asked.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think anyone really has anything for Austin Hill. A couple other guys that have been movers tonight so far. Neil Quick, we'd mentioned it, up there in that top 3, trying to contend for that second spot, but has Callentine all over his back bumper. Quick started in that 10th position and is up to 3rd, so 7 spots gained by him. Again, Brent Mark started in that 21st spot. He's currently running in 6th. So we've got a couple movers and shakers thus far. Mark Ellis as well started 16th and is up into that 9th spot. So a couple guys making a lot of ground, but your front row there right now of Hill and Turpak. Turpak starting 3rd and runs in that 2nd spot. They've shown that they belong at the front of the field all evening long. But Turpak has started to drag the brakes a little bit. You can see that car getting away from him handling-wise as he comes off the corner and slides a little bit, loses the back end of the race car, and that's allowed Quick and Callentine to start to catch him. But Quick now under fire by Callentine. He'll take that 2nd spot, dive bombs to the corner, slides in front of him, but is able to hold on to it. So Quick now in that 4th spot, and Callentine your new 3rd place.
And these two may reel in, as you mentioned, Noah Turpak pretty quickly, as Turpak seems like the handling of his car is going away. He's not able to rotate through the center. And you brought up a point about Turpak earlier that I hadn't actually noticed, but I'm definitely noticing now and noticed earlier on in the race as well, is he just can't seem to hold the bottom, whether it's fresh or old tires. That's, I think, how Austin Hill was able to get around him back on the first restart, because he just can't keep it glued down to that white line. As Neil Quick, he was able to get back around Matthew Callentine for that 3rd spot. That's a true testament there to the speed in the 21, because he's at a deficit as far as the tire wear.
Yeah, those two getting around that lap car there have continued to swap back and forth, and I think that's, again, part of the tire wear here. No one really able to hold that solid line of the bottom. Looks like Neil Quick, though, was able to hold that white line pretty well. They continue to catch Turpak. Right now, if I'm Callentine and Quick, we know that we're probably faster than Turpak, so let's quit battling each other for a lap or two and get around Turpak and then let the battle commence, because Turpak cannot keep it on the bottom of the racetrack there, and Quick sees it, so he'll try and take advantage of it here, sets him up and looks to peek underneath him, doesn't quite execute that, but we'll try it probably again here in the next corner.
You know, it's interesting, 4 drivers stayed out under that last caution. Turpak and Quick, who are running 2nd and 3rd, as well as Kyle Steffens, who's in 7th, and Kevin Bellacourt, who's currently scored in 10th. And back when the caution came out for the 3rd time, it was questionable of just how close they were on fuel. Those 4 drivers did not come to pit road under the last caution. I don't know if they were able to save enough under pacing to be able to make it the rest of the way, but I almost wonder You know, if they were that close, if it was a question mark on whether they could make it on fuel back under the third caution, if these 4 drivers might be concerned right now if they're going to have enough fumes to get to the start-finish line for the checkered flag.
Yeah, they're racing awfully hard if they're trying to conserve fuel. So someone that's sitting a little farther back and has been playing that fuel conservation game, like our friend Brant Marks that we talked about a little bit earlier, could be watching this and thinking this is exactly what he wants to see play out. But Turpak, now unable to hold that bottom line, will slide way too high up, and that allows Callantine and Quick to get past him. So Callantine side by side with him, though, looks to clear him in this corner, though, carrying much more momentum through him through the center of the corner. Slides up, there he goes, and takes that spot away from him. So Turpak was your second place runner. The handling of that car has completely gone away from that driver, slips back to the 4th spot.
You can drive it deep into turn 1 or turn 3, but then you just cannot get the car to turn. On the exit of the corner, we saw Derek Newsom try it earlier. It did not work out for him. You saw Turpak trying to fight back for 3rd on Callantine. Same deal for him, as he'll now drop back to that 4th spot. Neil Quick now moves into the 2nd position, but as these 3 have been mixing it up for 2nd place, over 5 seconds is now the gap from Austin Hill back to Neil Quick. He's actually passed a couple of drivers, putting them a lap down. Trevor Vogel just back there has now been putting a lap down. Only 13 cars continue to run on the lead lap. And I'm looking in terms of lap times here for Austin Hill as well. I mean, he's been out there for 27 laps now, and he's still running anywhere from a 1/10 to a 1/10.5 faster than Neil Quick.
Yeah, Austin Hill is going to be petitioning to go to Motegi here sometime soon in the real world because he has something figured out here tonight. Has not been challenged by many, was challenged early on by Josh Weinrich. Unfortunate turn of events for him early on in the evening, being involved in an incident with a lap car. So that has ultimately ended his night as far as contention, but Austin Hill hasn't missed a beat. I don't know that he slipped much further down than about 7th position, including those pit stops and cycling through on a different pit cycle than a few others. But other than that, he's got something figured out and is untouchable. So the laps continue to wind down. Austin Hill is hoping this thing continues to go green, but if we do see a late race caution, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes down. We only have, I believe, 13 drivers right now currently on that lead lap, 14 once one gets that lucky dog wave around. So Austin Hill, I think, has the equipment underneath him with enough laps still in the books or still available. With some fresh tires, I think he could make his way through the field if necessary.
I almost think that we've had enough laps right now into this green flag run. There's nobody that can play the strategy of staying out. I mean, we're about to complete our 30th lap here on this green flag run since going back on the restart. I don't see how anybody could even roll the dice and stay out on 30-lap old tires. So I think that it's pretty safe for Austin Hill if a caution were to come out between now and the end of the race, that if he comes to pit road, everybody's going to come to pit road with him.
Absolutely. I think everyone will be forced down pit road as well. You would not want to be someone that is at the front of the field when all the guys behind you have fresh rubber. Usually does not end well, especially late in the race, as people are being aggressive and making those moves to try and gain that final track position towards the end of the race. But Austin Hill, again, absolutely dominating tonight's race thus far. For the most part, everyone has single-filed their way out. Couple battles, though, shaping up here. Ron Schutte, you'd mentioned. He's a lap down, but is racing alongside Justin Watman. So those two are swapping around, although not on the same lap. They are one of the race cars closest to each other here on the racetrack. Even your leaders of Austin Hill, again, checked out, has continued to put the gap between Quick, who is now a pretty good solid gap between himself and Callantine. Turpak as well has continued to put a gap between them. So everyone's single file and calm as the laps continue to wind down tonight.
Right now, best battle would be somewhere here in the vicinity of 9th place. That's where Kevin Bellacourt, Derek Newsom, Aiden Perdue, 9th, 10th, and 11th are all separated by maybe about 5 car lengths. Looks like Bellacourt may have actually had a little issue off of turn 4. May have almost spun it off of 4 because Newsom and Perdue closed up on him awfully quickly. And now Newsom's going to get the wall there on the back straightaway as he tries to reel in the number 9, drives it in deep. That opens the door for Perdue. And so now we've got some mixing up going on just inside of the top 10.
and just the racing we needed at the moment. Those two continue to racing side by side and neck. No one really giving an inch right here. Pretty equal cars matched up at the moment. So they'll go through the corner, and Purdue able to edge Newsom there. Will slide in front of him for that spot. I would expect they'll try and shape each other up again here, but they've got lap cars in front of him. He uses them as a pick, so Purdue able to use that lap car as a pick and put a little bit of a distance between himself and Newsom. They're approaching a lap car once again very quick.
Impressive here for Aiden Purdue with him to be running in the 10th position. This car, as you can see, has got battle scars as he was involved in bringing out our second caution of the evening. He stayed out, restarted in the 3rd position. I was kind of questioning that, but he got another quick yellow, came to pit road. He's been able to maintain pretty good track position despite having a lot of damage to both the right front and right rear of his number 39. Currently in the 10th position trying to hold off Derek Newsom. Battle is shaping up now for 6th. One car that has really gone away on the long run is the 54 of Tom Bourne. And Kyle Steffens, who is on older tires, is even starting to reel him in. Only about 0.6 of a second separation there. And then you got Mark Ellis back there as well that's starting to reel both these guys in. So we could have 3 drivers up here battling for a spot just outside of the top 5.
Ellis slowly starting to catch Steffens like you had mentioned there. Looks like their lap times are fairly close at the moment. All of those guys starting relatively close to each other at the initial start of the race. Tom Bourne, though, originally started 5th, so has only slipped back that 1 position. So Steffens, though, in that blue and yellow 16 has started to catch the 54 of Bourne. He'll look to the inside. Bourne, the handling of that race car really gone away. Goes high, but pulls up side by side with Steffens. Ooh, they make a little contact there in the center of the corner, but a great run by Bourne on the outside. Will he maintain that? Ooh, the 3 of Ellis looking to stick his nose there. We could have a 3-4 wide almost situation with this lap car.
Ellis almost got the run up the middle. That's Trevor Vogel in the 6 down on the bottom. As the 60 and the 54 continue side by side, I believe that Trevor Vogel is on fresher tires, so he's going to cut through these lead lap cars pretty quickly and maybe try and get out of this battle that is going on for the 6th position. We've also got a battle brewing as this 3-way battle for 6th is happening just up ahead of them. Noah Turpak currently in 4th, looks in his rearview mirror, and that bright red and yellow number 5 of Brent Marks starting to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, Mark's really starting to reel him in, and we mentioned it all throughout the race. All they really want to do is try and catch him.
Caution out. 4th caution of the evening, and it takes place closing in on 10 laps to go. Looks like it may very well have been the 6 of Trevor Vogel, who we saw in the vicinity of that battle for 6th place, as his car is damaged and limping on the apron of turns 3 and 4.
A lot of those guys that were involved in that race with Vogel, including Mark Ellis and Bourne, as well as Bellacord, were pretty unhappy at the moment with Vogel. He was racing a lot of those guys, and Vogel, again, 7 laps down, while the rest of them were on the lead lap, was racing pretty aggressively. So a little frustration there by a couple of those drivers. Mark Ellis, one of those drivers that will be coming down pit road, so that will put him a lap down. I believe he came down pit road before the caution officially came out, so not sure if that will be reversed, but Ellis, out of that battle there, drops to the 12th spot.
It's like Mark Ellis has actually made the left-hand turn to the garage area as we are watching what happened with him. And just from first look, it looked like he may have overcorrected it there on the back straightaway, trying to make a move to the inside of the lap machine of Trevor Vogel. We'll actually watch his hands here on the in-car camera and see what happens as he's there to the inside, and his hands never move, but the car darts to the right. So not really sure what went on there, but a hard hit with the front of his car, and apparently feeling the damage is too terminal to continue on. So a tough break there for a guy that was battling up inside of the top 10 at the time. Now the question is, although I think it's probably a very easy answer, do all these drivers come to pit road and get the fresh tires? And there's the answer. It's feeding time at the zoo on pit road.
And this is exactly what we had expected. We expected that most of these guys would come down pit road, take advantage of that. Austin Hill, one of those. He can't afford to not have fresh tires right now. Again, he has just been the class of the field, outstanding every one of his other competitors. But with only a handful of laps to go, you would hate to be at a place like this without fresh tires and be at the front of that field. So everyone electing personally what I think is the right move, come down, get those fresh tires, get that fuel, maybe a little splash and go to get you through those last couple laps. But I would definitely come back out with fresh tires.
Close battle there off pit road as Austin Hill is going to win it over Neil Quick and Noah Turpak. Quick and Turpak, this caution really saved them because they were off sequence as far as tires were concerned and as far as fuel was concerned. They maintained good starting track position here for this restart inside of the podium positions with Matthew Callentine and Tom Bourne 4th and 5th off of pit lane. Free pass machine, I believe, was the 15 of Grayson Pope. So we're going to have 12 cars on the lead lap when we go back green, but now with us knowing we're going to be getting this restart somewhere in the vicinity of less than 10 to go, maybe 9 or 8 laps remaining, you kind of get the feeling now push is going to come to shove. These drivers are going to look for a little bit more. There's going to be more take, less give. I somehow get the feeling that with what's going to be less than a 10-lap shootout, we have not seen our last caution of the night.
I would have to agree with you there. I think Austin Hill has set himself up good. Again, still leading the field, so I don't necessarily think he'll be a part of that. I think he'll check out pretty well. But Quick, Turpak, and Callentine have swapped positions all evening long. They're now on equal proving ground. So this could be the potential possibility or the potential situation for them to really start the rubbings racing. Everyone going to be on fresh tires here. Some great racing about to take place, but we saw battles with Bourne and Marks also taking place prior to that caution. So again, everyone with fresh tires now. I think everyone's going to be slightly more aggressive.
Austin Hill warming up the tires there, wants to make sure he has that grip underneath him when he goes into turn one. We've got a few cars ahead of him that are going to take the wave around, including Chris Quick, Josh Weinrich, and Brad McDaniel. This will put Chris Quick 1 lap down, Weinrich 2 laps down, and McDaniel 9 laps down to the race leader as they get ready to start doubling themselves up. The drivers that are on the lead lap as they run right now, as we will be going back green, I believe, with 10 laps to go should we get the lights out this time. Austin Hill, the leader, Neil Quick in second, Noah Turpak in third, Matthew Callentine fourth, and Tom Bourne completes the top 5. Then it's Brent Marks, Kyle Steffens, Aiden Perdue, Kevin Bellacourt, Derek Newsom. That's your top 10. And the 2 drivers that are still on the lead lap in 11th and 12th, Jay Craybill and Grayson Pope. Lights out on the pace truck. We are going to go this time, so it will be a 10-lap shootout to decide it. Question is, which flag will Austin Hill see first, the caution or the white? I know which one he probably would like to see. I have the feeling it will not be the case, though, as he's had a great car on the short run. He's had a great car on the long run. I almost wonder if he would not have wanted to see that last caution come out, because it seemed like as the run went on, his car got better, the gap got bigger. I think he just wanted to run this to the checkers, run away with this thing. Now he's going to have some drivers to maybe challenge him here, depending on how good this restart is.
Absolutely, and side by side, that front row starts to stack up there. Neil Quick on the outside of Austin Hill. So Austin Hill on that inside with that preferred line. You can see him do a little virtual scrubbing of his tires. A couple other guys as well, trying to get those tires warmed up for this shootout here. Will we see everyone practice patience? I highly doubt it. I think we'll see some contact, some of these drivers becoming aggressive, but a shootout here, just under 10 laps to go, and Austin Hill, your leader, looks to run away with it.
Saw how drivers on the last restart with fresh tires really attacked into the corner. We saw double wide, we saw 3 wide, we saw slide jobs. We're going to see a lot more of that here in the final 10 laps as Austin Hill back up through the gears, tries to get away. He's got about maybe a car length, but boy, Turpak was kind of with him there. He may have a challenge if Turpak can execute 1 and 2.
Turpak quickly clearing a couple of the other drivers, including that of Neil Quick, but don't look now. Tom Bourne now in your top 5, up in that 4th position, battling, Quick. A questionable move there, slides down in the front to block the run of Callantine, able to keep it going though. Little bump between the two of them, but everyone's still now single file. So you've got the 54 of Bourne and the 96 of Callantine nose to tail all over the back bumper of Quick. Those two continue to make contact as Callantine and Bourne swap positions back and forth. High through the corner goes Callantine. He'll try and get a run through the corner, but it looks like Bourne will have the run and again clear him for that 4th spot. So Hill, Turpak, Quick, and Bourne, followed by Callantine, your top 5 at the moment.
Everybody trying to migrate down to that white line in the corner, trying not to get hung up in the second groove right now with the fresh tires. As Neil Quick right there on the bumper of Noah Turpak. Bourne, as you mentioned, cleared for the 4th position. I noticed back here, Brent Marks, he's trying to get by Kyle Steffens for the 6th position. Somewhere along the way, he's sustained a little bit of damage to that right front. Not sure where that came from, but apparently it has not affected him speed-wise as he's still running up there inside the top 10 in that 7th position, but it's the same song, second verse. Austin Hill begins to pull away right now 0.6 of a second over Noah Turpak, who right now looks in his rearview mirror and sees Neil Quick getting a little bit bigger.
Yeah, Quick, while trying to track down Turpak in second, is also driving a little bit in his rearview mirror as well. Ooh, bobble there by Quick. He goes to the bottom of the racetrack, tries to recover and get back up there, but Tom Bourne in that position, so has to give him the high lane. Caution is out. You called it. Would we see a caution this last 10 laps? Indeed, we would. So this will be another opportunity for really, I think, your 2nd through 7th place to battle out and continue to swap positions.
Second straight caution that involves the lap machine of Trevor Vogel, and looks like this may be the one that puts that purple 6 behind the wall as he sits smoking on the apron of 1 and 2. So the caution will be coming out, and we are going to be having a maybe 5, maybe 4 lap shootout to finish this out. And it almost looks like, looking back at the replay, he may have just gone around on his own. I almost think it could be attributed to the fact that he has no rear spoiler. I mean, that car is going to have absolutely nothing to hold it to the racetrack as, yeah, he brushes the wall off of 4, down hard, nose first into the inside wall, and I think that was right in front of 28 of Ron Shute, which obviously warranted a yellow flag being thrown and sets us up for what's going to be less than 5 laps to go to finish it out here tonight at Twin Ring Motegi.
And you have to wonder, with that 5-lap shootout, will everyone race hard but keep it collected? That's not often what we see. Cautions do breed cautions, the same in virtual racing. So those guys were battling hard before that caution did fly between Turpak, Quick, Bourne, and Callantine. I think that group, again, will be the same, but Brent Marks will probably make a last-ditch effort to try and get up inside of that top 5. He rides right outside of it right now in that 7th spot. Ooh, looked like for a second there, Quick thought about going down pit road. A couple of them maybe trying to go down pit road. Maybe Grayson Pope looks like he decided to go down and take with him Aiden Purdue. But for the most part, everyone else staying out.
I wondered, with this caution coming out, if anybody maybe from maybe 8th, 9th, 10th on back, if they might come to pit road. These drivers were out there on that last run, 8 laps. However, we didn't see a whole lot of difference in terms of fall off on the last green flag run between Noah Turpak, Neil Quick, and the others that were on fresh tires, and that was 8 laps difference. So I think some of these drivers realizing that with there not being that much difference, they don't want to give up the track position. It'll be interesting to see if Grayson Pope and Aiden Purdue coming down pit road, if they can advance their positions just a little bit. They're going to be restarting in 10th and 11th place, but Austin Hill's had 2 things on his side here tonight. Number 1, he's had the fastest car of the evening. He's been good on short run and long run. But number 2, he's the one that's able to control when we go green. He's the control car. When the pace truck ducks to pit road, at any point in time after that, he can accelerate, and everybody else has to react to when he goes. So with that being hit to his advantage, right now, these other guys, they have to keep themselves aware of when that 61 accelerates to be at least on his back bumper going into 1 and 2. Otherwise, Austin Hill is, and I mean this literally, going to drive away with it.
Austin Hill with that preferred position here. Again, still under pace laps, so the laps continuing to wind down. And you'd mentioned it looks like it's going to be under a 5-lap shootout here for the race win. I'm not sure. Do they go double file for that final within 5 laps, or will they do a single file restart?
I believe it is going to be double file. So they will be side by side all the way through the field. And so Noah Turpak's going to have the pressure on him being on the outside of that front row. Neil Quick may be in the driver's seat as far as timing the restart with Austin Hill. He may be able to follow Hill into the second position, but right now it's looking like Austin Hill just needs to hit his marks for what will be about, I think, 3 more circuits. I think it's going to be 3 to go when we do go back green, if we do get the lights out atop the pace truck this time. Looks like we have had a couple of other drivers retire from the event. Trevor Vogel, of course, who had that extensive front-end damage, bringing out this most recent caution, is now out of the race, as is the 9 of Kevin Bellacourt. I'm not sure what caused the issues for him, but he has retired out of the race as well. And I know he's not going to win here tonight, but credit to Josh Weinrich for sticking it out after his early issues. It looks like he's going to be around the 13th position when all is said and done, and he was back around 21st place after being involved in the first caution of the night. So soldiers on. Looks like he's going to finish in the top 15, but obviously not the run he was looking for, as he was second at the time. And right now, if Austin Hill can close the deal, Hattori Racing drivers will be going back-to-back here in the FeedNC 150 races. Max McLaughlin last time out took the checkers at Kentucky, and right now Austin Hill en route to taking the checkers at Motegi.
In double file, these 2 drivers on your front row. Looks like the lights might be out on the pace truck, so this could be the lap that we go back to green. And if that's the case, interesting situation for these drivers. Will they be able to keep it together for just these few laps remaining?
And we do have overtime if necessary. They have to make it back to the white flag, though. If we do that, the next flag ends the race. So they've been able to keep it green for about 8 laps here on a run. So if they can manage to make it these final 3, then we should be good to go. To make that 2, it's going to be 2 laps to go. It's an in-scheduled green-white checkered technically here for Austin Hill. And again, we see him doing the virtual warming of the tires. He's accelerating and then hitting the brakes, trying to make sure he's got the heat in the front tires there, doing everything necessary to make sure that this next restart, which could be the last one, is a perfect one.
The pressure is on for that front row. They will lead the field and set the pace. Noah Turpak on that front row, exactly where he started in that second spot earlier in the race. So the pace truck dips down. Your front row, Austin Hill on the gas. Green flag is in the air. Turpak keeping pace with your leader of Austin Hill down that front straightaway. They'll go into turn 1. Turpak on his bumper now dips below him for that second spot. Takes Neil Quick with him. Battle shaping up though with Steffens and Callentine.
Callentine's going to clear Steffens for the position, move him into 5th. As Brent Marks looked there as well, could not get the run. Now Steffens looks back to the inside in 3 on Callentine. Austin Hill, though, out in front, hoping they can keep it together here through 3 and 4, as there's a couple cars in the apron. Bourne and Steffens, they keep it straight, keep it green, off of 4, white flag in the air. Austin Hill, 4 more corners to go.
Kyle Steffens sideways through the center of the corner, but like you'd mentioned, able to hold on to it. So the drivers behind them of Marks, Callentine, Bourne, and Quick moving forward there. Those drivers all battling. No one really able to get to the back bumper of each other, though. So no one making any reckless moves. Callentine for a last spot there, tries to get around Bourne and unable to do so.
Up into turn 3, Austin Hill started outside of the front row. Never looked back after he took the race lead away from Josh Weinrich. He didn't even race at Kentucky, but he's going to lift the trophy here tonight at Motegi. He takes the checkered flag in the FeedNC 150 at Twin Ring Motegi this evening.
Great win by Hill, deserved it all evening long. Turpak finished right where he started in that second spot. Neil Quick, Tom Bourne, and Callentine, your top 5, followed by Brent Marks. A great run for that driver, comes home in 6th spot. Derek Newsom, Aiden Purdue, and Kyle Steffens with Jay Crabhill round out your top 10.
Kyle Steffens almost had us go into an overtime caution, but credit to him for keeping his car straight off of 4. And we finished the race under regulation as Austin Hill continues to burn it down here, drifting through 3 and 4. Now we'll get the car fired up. We'll undoubtedly head down towards the front straightaway and continue some burnouts here. Back-to-back wins for the Hattori Racing Enterprises drivers, with McLaughlin last time out at Kentucky and Austin Hill here tonight at Motegi. And Austin Hill, there's no doubt about it. I would have loved to have seen Austin Hill versus Josh Weinrich all race long, but just based off that first long run, that long green flag run, I think Austin Hill did have the better long run machine. So between those two, Austin Hill, I think, still would have maybe been the guy lifting the trophy and waving the checkered flag tonight. But Weinrich out of the race, it was easy pickings for the 61 of Austin Hill as he burns it down on the front straightaway, and he'll be heading to victory lane momentarily. We'll see if in just a moment we can get a word with some of our podium finishers. We're going to take a brief intermission, and we'll be right back with your post-race interviews as Austin Hill continues to celebrate his win tonight in the FeedNC 150 at Twin Ring Motegi. And we have third place finisher Neil Quick with us. And Neil, I mean, first off, I want to go back to the pit road strategy call that you made there, deciding to stay out on lap older tires. You were able to maintain a spot up there inside of the top three, but on fresh tires, did you have anything there for Austin Hill in the 61?
No, I really didn't. On the fresh tires, it seemed like I was not as strong as them guys on restarts, and it took a little bit for my car to come in, and it's just a little bit loose on the newer tires. Just as the tires started to burn off, it seemed to tighten up a little bit, and I got more comfortable and it could make a run on the longer green flag run. So taking that strategy, I thought that was probably going to be the best for us.
And a great race you guys had, that third place position. Multiple times, though, throughout the evening, you were involved in a lot of great battles. What was that thought process, or what was going through your mind when multiple times throughout the night with Callantine and Turpak, you guys were all battling?
Well, I really thought Callantine was coming on me, and just felt like he had a fast car, and was giving him enough room if he had a chance to get around me to go. But it seemed like as we just settled in and hit the marks, it seemed like I could just run with them guys. As you guys can see tonight, it was just a battle for second place between all of us, and great run by all of them. I mean, Noah had a great car. Austin was just in a league of its own tonight.
We saw, based on the way that Motegi is, whether you're driving a stock car, whether you're driving an open wheel car, you start on the fresh tires, it's really slick, the rear end wants to come around, and then as you get longer into a run and the tires heat up, it starts to plow off the corner and you have a tough time turning it off of 2 and 4. Which side of that did you have the most trouble with?
Really, as the car started to get tighter, it wasn't as much problem for me. I was running totally a different line than them guys, and I did try to go up and do the same thing that they were doing just to see if it would help my car. But everything tonight seemed like it was an early entry for me to roll the bottom and stay off the bottom coming off, and it seemed like that's where my car worked the best. Anytime I got up in that second groove or tried it, it seemed to be too loose, and I didn't have anything for those guys. So just a different run for me tonight, and a learning process. This was a first time running Motegi, and really a neat track, and definitely look forward to it again.
Obviously a great performance for you here. That's pit road strategy call, gained you the track position, you maintained it, bringing it home third. And Neil, we're gonna let you do some shout outs now.
Yeah, I'd like to thank, of course, the Hattori guys for putting on this race and doing the benefit for the food pantry down there in North Carolina. And I'd like to thank sponsors, of course, Workplace, www.r-rracewear.com for all your apparel needs, dirt, NASCAR, all that stuff. Great place to get racing merchandise. And then a great design group out there, Nemesis Racing or Nemesis Design Group. Check him out for your iRacing paint schemes. Great place. Nick Stevens, great artist. Check him out.
That's Neil Quick. He brings it home third place here tonight. Solid outing for you, and congratulations on a great performance and really just a great race overall. You put on quite a show for us tonight.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you guys doing the broadcast. It's been great the last couple of weeks doing this, and a great run for us tonight. So thank you.
Absolutely. Not a problem. And we have our fourth place finisher on standby here. Let's quickly get a word with Tom Bourne. Tom, you bring it home in a top 5 run, 4th place, but boy, you were in a hornet's nest there, especially near the end. We saw you up top 3 wide and everything. We also saw you fighting the car there on the long run, but describe your day overall.
I don't even know where to begin. I literally first laps I turned on this track were when practice started up today. The car was fast throughout. I definitely had top 5 to 7 speed. That second to last run where we went 35 laps, I abused the car way too much, and I was praying for a caution. I'm just really happy that car went down instead of up, because it was just I couldn't hang on to it anymore, and my tire was on the verge of blowing after that run.
And fortunately for you, not the situation of that tire blowout. Everyone really really running on worn down tires. A lot of people's cars looked like they were getting away from them. But let's go back to those three wide situations there. Everyone was aggressive there, but relatively patient. Were there any moments where you thought that you should take more of an aggressive route there to get farther up, or were you ultimately running what your car had provided you?
Definitely from the off the restarts, I was trying to be more aggressive. I felt like that's where I could make up most of the time. The first couple runs, I took it easy, and then started becoming more aggressive as the run went on. And as the guys were saying their tire wear and everything, I'm like, wow, okay, I'm actually wearing it a lot less than everyone else. So that's when I started to pick up the pace, and then that last final long run hit, and I'm like, oh, okay, used it a little too much. But yeah, those three wide situations were fun. Racing with all these guys is a blast. I can't really wish for anything else. These guys are definitely some of the best, and I'm excited to have been racing with them for the past 4 weeks, or 4 races, I should say.
We saw that first long green flag run. We were starting to think about fuel strategy type races. And I remember after the second caution, you messaged me. You told me it's close on fuel. Just how close was it at that point in time?
So obviously I'm gonna get in trouble for having the phone in the car, but besides that, it was so something that I was gathering is like we could go roughly 60 to 70 laps comfortably. Um, it was it was definitely close. We pit I think with 50. We restarted with like 57 or 58 to go. So it was definitely close. And then obviously, as you know, cautions bred cautions, and that whole strategy was out the window. But besides the fuel, I'm surprised that the cars the cars on older tires, when they stayed out after a 10 lap run like Austin and a Noah, they didn't really fall off much, and I was surprised by that, and that really led me to do things differently later in the race.
Still a tremendous effort for you bringing it home inside the top 5 and 4th. You were kind of in the cluster all night long from that second back to around 6th place. So, yeah, you definitely were where most of the action was. And we're going to let you do some shout outs now, Tom.
Yeah, I can't thank Sky Motorsports enough for putting the car on the track. Can't thank you guys enough for broadcasting. Obviously, I'd love to be in the booth too, but I also love driving the car. Having FRN on the car is always fun. Got to thank G Fuel. Cliff does an amazing job taking care of me and whatnot. Just everybody on the team, Fire News, Genesis Rescue Systems. It sucks Shane wasn't here today. He had some computer issues, but I had to hold one down for the team.
4th place is where you bring it home. Congrats on a great run. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself tonight, and you guys definitely put on a great show for us up here in the booth.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me up here, and thanks for broadcasting.
We've got our 2nd place driver here as well, Noah Turpak. And Noah, boy, you definitely gained a lot of track position on a strategy call, finishing in the 2nd position. But boy, you really had to wrestle for it there a couple of times, especially there at the end. You almost looked like you timed that restart perfectly with Austin Hill. But what little more did you need going into 1 and 2 to keep touch with him?
I just needed tight every corner, cut time to really loose. And sometimes I'd get tight, sometimes I'd get loose, and I just got loose coming off of turn two. And once he was 2 car lengths away, I couldn't catch him.
And you'd mentioned not being able to catch him there. There was a couple of times watching you where it really looked like the back end of that race car was getting away from you. Tire wear playing a big factor in tonight's race. Ultimately, do you think that had situations played out a little differently, you would have had anything for the 16, or was Austin Hill just ultimately in a league of his own tonight?
I think he was in a league of his own, as you could tell. It was pretty insane watching him, but I could follow him, and once I was able to follow him and stay like 2 car lengths behind him, I'll get it. But he could just put so many consistent laps together, and I'm here just getting the back end coming out so much. But it was fun racing and learning from that.
We saw you do the strategy call to gain track positions and be the race leader. The difference between you and the new tires behind you was about 8 laps, and you were able to still keep it up there in the top 5. Was 8 laps, 7 to 8 laps, not that much of a difference in terms of the fall off, or did you feel any kind of a significant difference with the fresh tires you had racing around you?
I didn't feel a significant difference for like 2 laps, but I mean, if it was a 2 lap shootout, I would have stayed out. But honestly, I figured out that 2 tires is the way to go. After that first 20 lap run, my tires were at 95% on my left side, so I just took 2 tires, and if I could have got 2 tires at that end, I would have probably had something for him.
You bring it home, second place here tonight. Nonetheless, a great performance. And like I said, that strategy call definitely gained you the track position, and you maintained it there, finishing up inside of the podium. And we're going to let you do some shout outs now.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my boy David Warner. He helps me a lot, and White Claws taste better at Saeed's always. So definitely catch me there. We'll have a good time. Thanks.
That's Noah Turpak. He brings it home second place here tonight at Twin Ring Motegi. And we now have our race winner, Austin Hill, coming to us from Victory Lane after doing maybe the longest burnouts I've ever seen here on iRacing. But Austin, man, I mean, from the very start, you reeled in Josh Weinrich, you got by him, you never looked back. It looked like you were an entirely different zip code from everybody else. Talk about the race from the cockpit.
Yeah, it was a good race. I hated that Josh had his issues early in the race. I thought it was going to be a really good race between me and him. You know, on these long runs, you really eat up your right front tires. So I think me and him were kind of playing cat and mouse on who was going to run harder than the other and burn up their right front tire faster, because he's always fast on iRacing. So he's one of those guys that's hard to beat. But yeah, I mean, all in all, it was a really good race for me. You know, I on restarts, I would kind of run it hard and try to run some qualifying laps for 5, 6, 7 laps, and then just try to get in a rhythm. And this is my first race at this track, so in practice, I really started searching around, and I found a really good line that I was running in 1 and 2 that not a lot of people were running, and it seemed to help me tonight. That seemed to be where the biggest difference maker was. It seemed like 3 and 4, everybody could kind of get through there pretty good as long as they didn't overdrive the entry. But 1 and 2 was kind of my difference maker for me. I would kind of run in and let it kind of wash up the racetrack, get it turned and pointed to where I could get back to the gas early. You know, especially with these long straightaways here, that's something big that you need, is to be able to pick up the gas early and be able to stay committed to the throttle.
Now, Austin, I have to ask you, it seemed like Shiggy actually had thrown you under the bus in the comments of our YouTube broadcast tonight and said that you had called Josh earlier today and said, hey, I need some help. So Josh set up your truck or your car for you this afternoon. Any actual truth to that? Because I feel like that would have been a great battle shaping up since Josh helped you out there. Or is he just pulling your leg?
Well, tonight we ran a fixed setup, so everyone had the same exact setup. So you really couldn't really mess with setups any with it being a fixed setup. But I actually did text Josh earlier in the day because I didn't even have this racetrack. I didn't have Motegi downloaded or bought before today. So when I downloaded, I wanted to get some practice in. So me and Josh got on, I want to say about 6 o'clock or so, and we ran some practice laps. He kind of told me a few tricks that he learned, and then it seemed like as I ran, I started learning some stuff about turn 1 and 2 that I could do differently than he could to make work. So he did help me out a little bit, though. He definitely helped me out in 3 and 4. I was struggling when I first started. I kept overdriving my entry and really messing up my 3 and 4 and not getting a good drive off. But yeah, I mean, it was fun though tonight. I can't thank Shiggy and Mr. Sago and everyone at Toyota Susho for helping us out. And I thought the Toyota Susho paint scheme looked really good tonight, and it's always good to see it in Victory Lane.
Well, Austin Hill dominates here tonight at Twin Ring Motegi, brings home the checkered flag in the final FeedNC 150 event of the season. Congratulations on a great win, a dominating performance, and now we're going to let you shout out anybody you'd like to.
Yeah, just everybody at HRE for putting this deal on. It's really good what we were doing with the NC feed.org, and it's a really good cause, and I believe we raised a lot of money, and we had a lot of good drivers come in here and run with us, and it was a lot of fun. The last few races was a little rocky for me, so it was good to be able to bounce back here and get a win, and get a win for everybody at Toyota Sioux Show, and Shiggy, and everybody that lets me do what I do in real life, and be able to do this on iRacing and have their colors and their number on the car was really fun tonight. And just can't thank everybody else that joined and watched over the race tonight. Hopefully I didn't bore you guys too much, but it was a lot of fun.
Well, Austin, obviously, it's great to be able to see you win in a virtual car, but with everything we've been hearing here from NASCAR and everything, it's going to be great to see you back in a truck as well out there on the track once more. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be a lot of fun being able to get back out at Charlotte. That'll be our first race back, and we're going to be running the Xfinity car and the truck. So it's going to be a lot of fun to get out there, and it's going to be a little different, but hopefully everybody joins in and watches from home, and we can put on a good show for everybody.
Absolutely. Well, that's Austin Hill. He brings it home here tonight at Twin Ring Motegi. Congratulations. Go enjoy your victory.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
And let's bring in the guy that was the brainstormer of all this idea here for the 4 events that they ran: Texas, Darlington, Kentucky, and of course tonight here at Motegi, Josh Weinrich. Josh, I mean, obviously the race didn't go quite the way that you probably wanted it to, but man, what an unbelievable 4 races it's been here. And I know that, obviously a lot of the credit has to go to you putting this all together. I mean, just a tremendous job and some unbelievable racing here all season long.
I mean, the credit goes to everybody that signed up and raced with us. So tonight, we had an awesome fit. I felt like the first few races, it just kept getting bigger and better. And there's so many guys from the dirt side of the industry. They're starting to get back racing too. So unfortunately, couldn't have those guys with us this week. But no, I mean, these 4 weeks, we wouldn't have made the impact that we were able to make without everyone signing up and racing with us, and all you guys at Flatout Racing Network for broadcasting all this stuff. And Shiggy got really excited about it and really got behind it. Mr. Sago and all the folks at Toyota Sioux Show, they did as well. Also, a shout out to Neil Quick, and some of the guys at R&R Enterprises. They worked with some of their guys that they work with on the merchandise side and got them involved, like Brent Marks and Logan Schuhart and Aiden Purdue, guys like that. So it was awesome to have a group like that's come together, just race and have some fun and benefit a good cause doing it.
And a great cause that is. It's been awesome to join you guys this evening for that. So I appreciate the invite, Josh. But a great cause for the last 4 weeks. But we're getting ready to go racing again. What's the excitement been like over at the shop as the clock now has an official wind down date on when you guys will hit the track again?
Yeah, we're pretty stoked. Feels like it's starting to get back to business as usual a little bit. So it'll obviously be different. The guys are obviously working hard, all hours of the day. It'll be a different schedule for sure. Racing on a Monday and Tuesday night with the Xfinity car and the truck. So it'll be different. I don't think you probably won't get the normal circadian rhythm sort of thing, the weekly rhythm that you'll normally be at. But we're just thankful to be able that NASCAR is putting all these protocols in place that we can actually go back to the track. So, this was these last 4 weeks, or these last 4 races that we put on, was a nice little distraction, kept the competitive juices flowing, and just hope everybody that tunes in and really enjoyed it. And I think most everyone that ran with us enjoyed it too. So that's the main thing, and helping folks out here in the Charlotte area that actually need it.
Well, I've just got to say personally here for Flatout Racing Network, we appreciate pegging us for doing this. It's been an unbelievable experience for us overall. And, for me up here in the broadcast booth to be able to broadcast these races, they've been unbelievable from start to finish. And just to also know in the back of the mind that it's all going to a great cause and everything benefiting a great cause just makes it all the better. So thank you, Josh. Really appreciate all the work you've done in putting this whole thing together.
No, thank you guys, Seth, Matthew, and Hannah. Thanks for stepping in this week. Hopefully you guys have fun, and hopefully everybody out there that was watching really enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed doing it.
Absolutely. Thanks for talking to us, and congratulations on a job well done here these past 3 months.
All right, thanks guys, appreciate it.
So as that concludes the final race here of the FeedNC 150 at Motegi with Austin Hill taking the checkered flag, that is going to conclude our coverage here this evening. And Hannah, I have to say, just for me personally, it's been a real honor to have you up here in the broadcast booth tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate the invite. Always love getting to do this stuff, and especially for a good cause. A lot of these guys, obviously, I know from the racetrack week in and week out, or just have longstanding relationships with them. So to get to call those races and watch the racing action for a good cause, I appreciate it. So thank you for the invite. I'd be more than up for it anytime. Love doing some virtual racing. It's kind of cool to be able to call races, like I said, in my yoga pants. I'd be lying if I said I was in my normal booth attire. So it's great to get to do this. So thank you for the invite.
Absolutely. Glad to have you here. Appreciate all the sponsors that came on board here for these things as well. Of course, Toyota Shoe Show, Mason, R&R Racewear, all those different sponsors that came on board and helped out with this. And then, of course, FeedNC.org as well, the great cause that's been going on here for all 4 of these events. If you guys want to have some more racing, Flatout Racing Network is currently in the middle of broadcasting the Fuel Racing League's Racetrack Designs Indy 500. That's taking place as well on the Flatout Racing Network. They are currently in progress of finding out who's going to take the checkered flag there as their season is beginning to wind down. So head over to Flatout Racing Network for that. Also, be sure and check out FeedNC.org, though. Tonight's broadcast, of course, and tonight's event benefiting that. You can still head over and do a lot of things on feednc.org. You can donate there. You can be a monthly club member. You can also put together a care package, all sorts of stuff that you can do, a blessing bag. There's all sorts of things that you can do to be able to help out the feednc.org corporation. But appreciate everybody that tuned in tonight for this race, all the drivers that took part during these 4 races. Of course, as I mentioned, Josh Weinrich putting all of this together. Again, thank you to Hannah Newhouse for joining me here this evening for this. This has been a blast doing all of these races, and hope that everybody enjoyed it as well. But for Hannah Newhouse, I'm Seth Cole. Thanks for tuning in to tonight's event here as Austin Hill takes the final checkered flag in the FeedNC 150 at Twin Ring Motegi. We will see you guys next time. You've been watching another broadcast courtesy of the Flatout Racing Network.